Donald Trump just signed what he claims is the biggest trade deal ever made, right now from his golf course in Scotland. And it was not just a photo op. This deal, whether you like him or not, is making waves across the globe. Because it's not just about tariffs, it's about power. So here's the headline: the United States and the European Union reached a last minute trade agreement that puts a 15% tariff on most EU goods coming into America. That's lower than the 30% or even 50% Trump originally threatened, but still steep enough to get Europe's attention. And the reaction? Panic, especially in Paris. Let's walk through what just happened. After months of threats, standoffs, and failed diplomacy, Trump sat down with EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen at his Turnberry Golf Resort, of all places, and hammered out a deal. In return for avoiding sky high tariffs, the EU agreed to purchase $750 billion worth of US energy, plus another $600 billion in US investment commitments. This is not just symbolic. European nations are now more reliant on American oil, gas, and tech than ever before. Zero tariffs were agreed for certain sectors: semiconductors, aircraft parts, and advanced farming technologies. Steel stays high, 50%, but under quota restrictions. And pharmaceutical negotiations? Those were kicked down the road. Now, was this masterful strategy or brute force? That depends on who you ask. Trump's allies call this a power move. They say he leveraged economic fear to force Europe to the table and got results. His critics say it's another example of economic bullying. They argue the EU was strong armed into a lopsided agreement that benefits American industry at the expense of diplomatic goodwill. But here is uncomfortable truth: Europe did not have a better option. Germany's car industry was facing disaster under the proposed 30% tariffs. Italy and Spain were staring down economic slowdown. And the EU leadership? Hmm, completely fractured. Trump knew it. So did von der Leyen. And instead of letting tariffs explode into a full on trade war, Europe blinked. That's not spin. That's what happened. Of course, the French did not take this lightly. France's Prime Minister Francois Bayrou called the deal an act of submission, not compromise, not diplomacy, submission. His words: the backlash in France has been intense. Across the political spectrum, French lawmakers are accusing the EU of surrendering. They claim Brussels folded too easily, sacrificing European pride to appease an American strongman. But let's pause for a moment. If your job is to protect your citizens from economic fallout, would you rather preserve pride or prevent a 30% tariff on goods your economy depends on? You decide. Meanwhile, online commentary exploded. Reddit, Twitter, news forums, everyone had something to say. On one US economy thread, Trump played it like a poker hand. They called his bluff, and he wasn't bluffing. In French forums, we've been mugged by Trump in broad daylight. He invited her to his golf resort, and she signed our future away. Quote, the emotional temperature boiling. This was not just a trade story. This was a cultural collision. Old world diplomacy met 21st century pressure politics, Trump politics. And guess what? Pressure won. Now, let's be clear. This is not about glorifying Trump. He's not a diplomat. He doesn't pretend to be. But what he does do, often loudly and clumsily, is push until someone flinches. And this time, Europe did. Whether that's brilliant strategy or reckless gambling, well, that's up for debate. But the scoreboard, it says Trump got what he wanted. America keeps the upper hand in trade, energy exports surge, European industries swallow the cost. And the EU, now stuck trying to spin this as mutual benefit. So what's next? Will this deal hold? Will Europe retaliate in other ways? Will the Biden camp, if they return to power, reverse any of it? These are real questions. But one thing is clear. The game has changed. Trump didn't just sign a trade agreement. He changed the tone of international economics. He reminded the world again that the US can still throw its weight around and someone will flinch. For better or worse. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Trump's strategy worked? Was this a fair deal? Or just more chaos disguised as victory? Like the video, subscribe if you want, and don't forget to share this before it magically disappears from your feed. And remember, whether you love him or hate him, Trump just pulled Europe into a deal they said they would not sign ever. He did it from a golf course, and everyone else is still trying to catch up. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.